Hi, and welcome to Kate's Paper Creations. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Washington State, and I welcome you to my weekly new catalog video where I make cards using all new products from the most recent catalog, and in this case, that is the holiday catalog that is for 2020, that is current now through till January. So this particular card today I am making is featuring the set called Beautiful Autumn. It's got all of these stamps and sentiments in there. And what's really cool about this set is it has both a detail and a filler stamp. So you can add color or leave detail as it is, or however you want to do it, which is some of what I'm going to show you today. So let's get started. Got a couple of tricks for you. So the first thing I did was cut a piece of Very Vanilla, 8.5. I guess I better cut a piece of Very Vanilla. Here we go. I'm going to use the Very Vanilla Thick because it's for the card base. Oh, I did have it cut. Here it is. 5.5 by 8.5. Scored at 4 1/4. Folded and burnished with a bone folder to create a top fold A2 greeting card. There you go, just like that. Okay, then I cut a piece of the new brushed metallics. This is the brushed gold, and I cut it. Let me get my paper up here so I get that right. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And it's going to become this framed edge here. And so I'm going to show you a trick that I do to kind of preserve some of my foil because it's kind of expensive to buy and I only need the edging. I don't need that middle piece to be hidden. So what I did is I cut another piece of Very Vanilla to use as a template, and this piece is cut 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 so that it will create a border that I can put my next piece on. And it's slightly smaller than this layer so that it'll overlap when I put it on. You'll see what I mean when I get it done. So then I just lay this on here and I centered it just like that and traced around it with a pencil, as you can see here. And there's two ways you can do this. You could do this on your paper trimmer. You can bring it up and you set that line right on the cut line, and then you put your edge down right where it's going to start, and then you just draw down and match up the line like that. And you can do that all the way around so that you cut out the frame. Another way you could do it, and let me get my little extra cutting mat here, is to use an edge and an X-Acto knife. So you could do it this way as well. And let me show you that. I'm getting a little bit of a shadow here today, so that's going to make it a little bit tricky. Let me see if I bring my light over. If that's, hopefully that won't interrupt the video too much. Like that. And if you're going to have it be, be more careful, go to the inside of your tracing line, not to the outside of it, because a little bit wider is not going to hurt, but a little bit too wide won't work, if you can follow my thinking. So we're going to do that, and then we've got one more to do here. Like this. I messed up just a little bit there, so let me fix that with my scissors. There we go. And so that creates this frame that we're going to set the piece on for the next layer. And that's this embossed layer that you see here. So let me get that piece. And that piece is going to be 3.5 by 4 3/4. So let me cut that piece. Should have had that cut before I started, but there we go. 3.5 by 4 3/4, like that. And I'm going to emboss this with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And I wanted to show you, see, I'm using the new embossing machine from Stampin' Up! That's going to be available in September, and on it it tells you what to use to do the various things. So this Tasteful Textile embossing folder is a 3D embossing folder, or a dynamic one, and so it shows you right here on the base plate what you need. Is just the base plate, the folder with the paper in it, and then the special embossing plate, which looks like this. So we're going to put this in here, and this on here like this, and this on here like this. And you always want to put fold end in first. I'm going to do that off camera and bring it back, but you always want to put your folders in so that the fold is going in first. And there's our embossed piece. And that is going to sit on here just like that. Okay? And this is all going on flat. So what I did is, when I'm sticking to the foil, the foil has a kind of a slicky back on it, and the front, of course, is this foil, and so regular adhesives and stuff don't seem to stick as well. So I am using the new Stampin' Seal Plus, which is really, really nice. And I'm going to run a bead of that around this. And then I am going to put it on the frame. Get it square with the roll. Don't sit it before I'm ready. That looks good right there. Okay, it's going to stick a little bit because I think. And then I'm going to turn it over again and run a bead right around the edge of that frame piece as well. And get some on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick it to the front of the card. And this is the standard 1/8 inch border that I'm aiming for here. And there's that. So that's ready to go. There's the front of the card. Okay, then I took from the stitched shape framelits, and I used the smallest square, which is approximately 1 1/4 inches, and I used it to die cut out 3 of each of these. 3 from the Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper, and 3 from Very Vanilla. Let's get them right side up because it does make a difference in how the stitching looks. And I'm going to have these all going in the same direction, like that. Okay, and these I attached to the front of the card with dimensionals, and I was generous with the dimensionals. I put on 4 on every single one of them. All 4 corners. I wanted them well supported. You know, to each their own. You might not think it needs them, and that's okay. I'm just showing you what I did. Takes a little while to do this. If when you're putting these down, you kind of just stick your fingernail down in the centers, it kind of makes the edges of the backing pop up, and when you go to peel it off, it's going to be much easier to do. I have a tendency to just do it without even thinking. I've done it so many times. And look at that, I used up that sheet. So we'll just cut one of these off and use it. Okay. So now when you're putting these down, because of the size, I figured out the size, and so that helps me with the placement. And so I ended up leaving approximately 1/4 of an inch around the edges, and that made the center a little bit wider, which is where I'm going to place my sentiment. So it came out perfect for that. And I stamped that sentiment with Early Espresso, and that sentiment piece, I don't know if you can still see it. Here, I'll pull it down so you can see while I'm talking. Is stamped with Early Espresso, and it's stamped onto just a 1/4 inch wide piece. It's 1/4 inch by 3 inches. And then I stamped it with the Early Espresso, and then I put a 3-inch piece, or a little less than 3 inches, because the sentiment piece is actually 3 inches. So I put just a little tiny bit of shorter of the foam adhesive strips, and I stuck that to the back and stuck it on. And what's cool is that's just a tad bit higher than the others that are also put on with dimensionals, because the foam strips are just a little bit thicker. So now we're going to put these on, and like I said, I'm just looking at about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit less. And I have a tendency to do the 2 edges first, because then if it is just a little bit off, it still just looks very equal. And then this one I'm going to put in here. And I don't care if the gap is bigger here, as long as the outside edge remains as it should be. That's the main thing I'm looking for. So then we'll do these. Like that. And that works for me. Okay, so there's that. Now I am going to stamp these 3 things, the oak leaf, the maple leaf, and the acorn. And I'm going to stamp the detailed part of those with Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp that off because it got too gooey. I want it to be just a little bit less gooey. Okay, so I'm going to stamp those with the Memento Black. There's that one. And the punches are designed to punch with them in this direction. So you want to stamp in the same direction that you have to use the punch. That's just too dark for me. I'm gonna, yep, okay, I'm having fun. Let's get another piece here, because I want it just right. Okay, let's try again. Well, that looks better. Okay, and then the acorn. I probably have a scrap somewhere in that drawer, but, and there's the acorn. So that's the detailed part. Then for the oak leaf, I used Bumblebee, and I stamped the filler of the oak leaf. If I can find it here, it's getting away from me. There it is. With Full Strength Bumblebee. And I stick my head in here. Just like that. Oh, that looks good. And then I don't need that, so I'm going to close that. And then for the acorn, since it's right here, I stamped the shell, the bottom part, or the shell part, or whatever you want to call it, with Soft Suede. And then, actually I wanted that to be crumb cake. So we're going to back up. I'm going to do that again. The soft suede, I wanted to be the cap. Like that. And then I wanted the shell part of it to be crumb cake. We'll get it right yet. Just like that. And then we've got the maple leaf to do, and I did the maple leaf with Cajun Craze filler. Here's my filler. Well, I'm just having a terrible time here today. Not paying attention to what I'm doing very well, am I? So let's see. And then the filler like that. Okay, finally got those on there. Okay, so then we're going to punch them out. And it's just a matter of lining them up. Taking my time here. There's the maple leaf. There's the acorn. And there is the oak leaf. And I attached the 3 of these with mini dimensionals. And I just put 1 on the back of each of them. Just like this. And it doesn't matter where on the card, you know, the placement of these. This is just how I happen to do it. I put the oak leaf in here, like that. I put the acorn down here by itself. Kind of gave it just a little bit of a angle, and the maple leaf I put right up here. Okay, and then like I say, I cut a 1/4 inch strip of Very Vanilla. I will do that. It doesn't look very wide. 1/4 inch by 3 inches. And there it is. And I stamped that sentiment with Early Espresso. Just really enjoying these fall colors. It's so fun. Okay, and it's really not that hard to line up. I'll get some better lighting for myself. Hopefully it doesn't glare in your vision. And there it is. Oh, turned out perfect. Okay, and then like I said, I cut a slightly shorter piece of the adhesive foam strip, and I put that on the back. Just a little bit, so it's a little bit tiny short, which is okay. Keeps it from showing out past the ends. Get the backing off. And I just put that kind of centered right down the middle of the card, like that. And there you have it. There's the cards. Aren't they lovely? Just so much fun. Now I can go on the inside of the card and add some of these leaves and that on the inside, maybe a cluster in the corner, something like that. It's good to put something on the inside of your card, and then I'm planning on also doing something with the envelope. But that's totally up to you as you get into the creative part of what you're doing. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks for stopping by. Do remember that this free video tutorial is offered by katespapercreations.org, where you can go to my website and shop with me if you don't have a demonstrator. Thank you.